right. Shalom, shalom. We the brothers of Great Millstone, the church here in Birmingham, Alabama. And as always, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Yep, in the ancient Hebrew tongue, those will be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, and the Holy Spirit. Also, we'd like to give double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the fellow laborers out there, and as always, you believers, the Akim as well as the Akwath. Those of you brothers as well as you sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So, yep, we back once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I got the brothers Barak as well as the brother Dawadah with me. And the spirit is on us to go into another quick lesson, which, as you can all see the title, Scorpions and Vipers. Scorpions and Vipers. Which in this sitting right here, we're going to pretty much take an in-depth look, if you will, into the 2/3, and the judgment which has been prepared and will be ultimately presented in the form of Jacob's trouble as touching the folly, disobedience and ultimate rebellion of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which, by the way, the time of Jacob's trouble is nothing more than a strategic approach, a strategic move by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to recompense you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, concerning your wickedness. Hey, and this is an idea that must be developed when you come into this arena. Because you have a lot of Jakes out there who come into this thing, and their approach is to call all so-called black people together. Well, that's not the case, man. We have been pretty much briefed concerning the plans of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and the judgments in which he had prepared here in his lifetime for mainly the so-called white man, obviously saying that he's the offender, the chief offender, and adversary of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but as well as you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. What's that? Isaiah, the 13th chapter? Mm-hmm. Those who are joined unto them shall be thrust through. So this is the mindset that's developed. When you come into this thing, you pretty much have to embrace that disdain for your people, man. That's actually being in harmony with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let's start off there in Jeremiah, the 11th chapter, in the 14th verse, Baba Kashah. This idea is a stumbling block to our people, mainly those of you who come into this arena, so to speak, meaning those of you who find out that you're an Israelite, and the rallying cry is, go to the hood, which you're not going off if you pitch your tent, so to speak, if you set up your camp in the hood or in the proximity of Jake. But this the thing, once we set up, we're not going to celebrate you niggas. Eventually, we're going to curse you out. And that's going to lead to, skirmishes or whatnot. So it's just a waste of time. Because they have already been numbered to the sword, man. Come on.
Khan, this is Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 14. Therefore, pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them.
Right, which that sentiment was echoed by our Lord Yahweh Shai himself. We briefly spoke about that before we went live. What's that, St. John, the 17th chapter? Mm-hmm. Where the Lord said he prayed not for the world, which that world is concerning the world of Israel, man. All right, the Lord is only concerned with his elect. Read that again.
Therefore, pray not thou for this people, mm-hmm. neither lift up a cry or prayer for them. Mm-hmm. For I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble.
Yep. And that's the time of Jacob's trouble. The Lord is not going to hear you in that day. Seeing that you did the things that was not pleasing in his sight, right? You pretty much rejected and despised the word when it was presented unto you. Hey, because you Israelites, you niggas, you scorpions and vipers out there, you heard this word. And it compelled you to react, in a certain way. Either you scoffed at it, you made mockery of it, you became offended. You have certain jakes who have sent death threats, right? And ultimately, you resisted the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So guess what? When the time comes, when the Lord pour forth his wrath, you're going to succumb to that, right? Matter of fact, can we bring that out? When they cry out unto me, Baba Kashar. And we touched on this briefly last night. Look, the Lord is about justice. What's that? Psalms, the 89th chapter, in the 14th verse, where the scriptures outline the fact that justice and judgment is the habitation of the throne of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Now, when you go into that word habitation, it translates to basis or foundation. So this means not one stiff-necked nigga will somehow get away. And the spirit heavy. You see, lately, the momentum has been shifting towards calling out the 2/3. Because we were speaking about going into this lesson last night, man. And today you see, the momentum getting on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Starting with the Apostle Taha. He did a lesson on it. The Elder Yashawamba, Elder Manatazaba, and several other brothers. Well, if you're paying attention, you can feel it. The Lord is getting ready to spring into action concerning recompensing you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. That's why the attention is getting shifted towards you. Come on.
This is Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 11. But they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear.
Right. And that's our people, man. They don't want to hear the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the instruction of a father. This is what contributes to their rebellion. See? Scriptures say how our people, they prefer to hear smooth things. Which really goes back to Esau. What's that? Psalms, the 50th chapter, his words were smoother than butter. So our people want to hear deception. All right? Because there's a saying in the world, and this credence that comes with it, and that's the truth hurts. Come on.
It says, yeah, they made their hearts as an adamant stone.
Right. You niggas is stiff-necked, you hard-headed, man. You are wired to be rebellious. All right. A nigga will see a stop sign and they're urged to run it, Real talk. Motherfuckers, this is a four-way, right? Real talk, I done been there, man. I had to go pick up my little one from school. And it's a bunch of niggas, right? Which call all Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He's not there anymore. He graduated to another, But in the morning, they have an actual crossing guard, and everything goes smooth. But when you come to pick them up, it's every man for himself. Niggas running, they don't honor the four-way. And if you say something to him, you already know what's next. A nigga got a 40 cal. All right, come on.
It says, yeah, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord, Yahweh Bahashah of hosts, have sent in his spirits by the former prophets.
Right. And that's the time we in its perfection. Those words have been sent once more. The men that you see, the sincere men that you see out there on the front lines, on the highways and byways, and furthering and advancing the gospel of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we were sent. We're a manifestation of the prophets of old, the former prophets, seeing that we continue in their legacy. But again, when our people catch wind of this information, when it's presented to them, they buck up at it. Imagine going in the hood and convincing a nigger to put down pork, man, to lay aside the pork, they're gonna become offended. Hey, it's a sentimental value that comes with pork with these niggas. Because you remember your grandma, right? That's why, again, Yahweh Shema Shai is going to be justified in his visitation. Matter of fact, hold that and go to, is that the book of Isaiah, the first chapter? I believe it's Isaiah 1 and
we went 5, something like that.
Yeah, Con. I know it's up in there. Matter of fact, let me grab it up. Yep, that's it. Hey, you could jump up on that.
Okay. This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib.
Right. And the ox and the ass are considered two of the most dumbest animals on the planet Earth. Yet they have a sense for their master in his crib. Right? Eventually he'll make his way home. He don't have the discernment pretty much of you people to solve, math problems, but yet he can make his way home. Go ahead, Doc.
But Israel doeth not know, my people doeth not consider. It says, a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity.
Right, and that's concerning reincarnation, if you have eyes to see. When you laden something, that means you just pile on and pile on, right? You add to it. So throughout the various lifetimes, the Lord hasn't cleared you jakes, man. That's why you hear stories of, little babies being shot by a stray bullet. That's because he's paying, or she is paying, he or she, for their former sins in their past life. Why? Because those iniquities haven't been cleared. See, go ahead.
It says, children that are corruptors, they have forsaken the Lord, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger.
Right, and that's the time we in. Where that anger would be manifest here in his perfection, which again, in the form of what the scriptures have coined as the time of Jacob's trouble. Come on, up.
They are gone away backward.
Yep, they are going away backward. Come on, up.
It says, why should ye be stricken anymore?
Yeah, read that again.
Why should ye be stricken anymore?
Right, so why would you even pray for these people? Because the Lord is going to put an end to your madness. Read that again.
It says, why should ye be stricken anymore?
Go ahead.
Ye will revolt more and more.
Right, ye will revolt more and more. So the Lord, he has pretty much come to the conclusion, being the physician, right? If someone is brought into the hospital and their situation is dire, it is bleak, right? Then the doctor might say, you know what, we're going to pull the plug. And you even hear certain family members, they might say, yeah, we don't want them to continue to suffer. So just take them out of his misery. Hey, just think about it. If the Lord was to allow you niggas, and you could see these younger scorpions and vipers that's coming up, come on, man. You had the one baby, he was like 2 years old, he got tatted up, even though it wasn't his fault, but he was there for a reason. The Lord brought him back to be a symbol of a nigga. Come on.
It says the whole head is sick.
Right, and the whole head represents those who will occupy leadership roles within Israel. From the extreme of your civil rights leaders to just some rap nigga with a podcast, right? Anyone who has a voice, a platform, if you will, to influence this impressionable people, Israel. So even the heads amongst Jake is sick. Go ahead.
The whole heart is faint. Excuse me, the whole heart faint.
Yep.
It says, from the sole of the foot, even unto the head, there is no soundness in it.
Again, when you take a step back and assess, Israel as a whole, and we're talking about the 2/3, which by the way is considered a whole nother nation in the sight of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. From their heads to the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak, you all sick. Come on,
It says, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores.
Right. And a sore that's putrefying means it gets worse and worse and worse, man. So that's why you see, and we're gonna pull up footage. Oh, you niggas, you on trial too, man. Cause you the same niggas that gave up Yahushua. You chose Barabbas, a murderer, over Yahushua. You the same niggas, you that same generation who put the prophets to death. Because the prophets pretty much serves as a symbol of restraints, so to speak. And a wild beast. What the scriptures say? They lay at the head of every corner.
Yeah, wild bull.
Wild bull. A wild bull don't want to be restrained. He don't want restrictions. And that's what the prophets represent. Restrictions, order, standards. So that's why you always took out your hatred on the prophets. So you on trial too. And again, we're going to pull up the footage on you niggas. And it's going to serve as a piece of evidence, a critical piece of evidence, which justifies Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Come on.
It says, they have not been closed, neither bound up.
Right. Yep. They have not been closed. And the scriptures is key. It's a play on words too. But ultimately, they haven't been closed or bound up. That's equivalent to having a nasty wound. And if you haven't treated it and stitched it up, right, it's going to only get worse. You're going to have to do what? Cut that. You're going to have to cut that wound off. Come on.
It says, neither mollified with ointment.
Right. And that ointment represents this truth, man. The oil, which has healed us. All right. So, yep, we can go back. Let's read anything, Barak.
Con, I got something real quick.
Yep, you can expound on.
Con, Proverbs chapter 1. And
yeah.
Let's start at 23.
Yeah, hey, bring, you can bring it all out, whatever you got to get,
I start at 22. It says, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. And that's our people, 2/3 of our people. They love simplicity. They love to be simple and to lack knowledge. That was the thing, the nerd was the guy that was hated in school, while the nigga was the most popular, but the results, the nigga that was popular in school, he died by a shootout. And the guy that was knowledgeable was prospering.
Yep.
It says, turn you at my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. And that's what you're seeing. The Lord got his prophets out, prophesying and making his word known, and Jake is despising that, man. It says, because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. So Jake, they really they're refusing the help of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Just going back to the scripture, Zechariah, the Lord cried out till he had compassion, upon his people by sending the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
And the nigga didn't want that, and you threw out a life raft to him, and he despised that. He's gonna grab onto what Esau give him.
Right.
That's why you see these offspring of these niggas, man, they have gotten worse.
Yeah.
It says
yeah, can I say the niggas from the 90s and hey, because when you watch that Don't Be a Menace, right?
God.
Yeah. It was a cryptic, somewhat cryptic glimpse into the future. When the niggas had their pants sagging all the way down to their ankles and shit.
God. Yeah.
Yep. So it didn't get no better. It only got worse. Yep, you got it up.
God, it says, but ye have said, and not all my counsel, and with none of my reproof. So they don't take the words of Yahweh Shem Shai as profitable. They despising it, they taking it light. They don't see the benefits of hearkening unto Yahweh Shem Shai. It says, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. And that's the time we in. The Lord is about to open up on these niggas. Just how the Lord's about to do Esau. And these niggas has been found in the car with them.
Yep.
So they're gonna feel the repercussions as well. It says, when your fear cometh as a desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, and the key word is when, because it's inevitable, man. That's the fate, the destiny of these niggas, man. Destruction, desolation, and distress and anguish. It says, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. So just going back also that Zechariah, because when the Lord, when he's done talking, then that's when you want to knock on the door and make amends. But it's going to be too late then, man. Lord had his hand stretched out. The Lord got his men out, prophesying day and night, as a whole. And a nigga ain't considering that. They'd rather be more acclimated here in Babylon the Great. It says, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. See, and that's what's going to submit their destruction, because they hated knowledge. The Lord said he loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. And you see, these niggas is not operating on the, wisdom, man. Especially wisdom of Yahweh Shem Shai. Just through their actions. And that's the only way you can, that's the only thing you can call them is scorpions and vipers. That's the, those perfect animals to describe those niggas, man.
Yeah.
Because you get too close to them, you might die.
Yeah. Oh yeah, even that saying in the world that crabs in a barrel mentality.
Yeah, God.
Niggas hate to see you well off. You even appear to look like you give off the slightest resemblance of doing good. First thing come to a nigga mind is robbing you, but that's a lick. Or indoctrinating you through, their folly. Now all of a sudden, hey, that's a great point. That's why you can't interact with niggas, man. That's dangerous. Because you could become affected. Yep, you got it up.
God, 2 more verses. It says, they would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. So just going back, these niggas living those certain lifestyles, that's what they're gonna get. Nigga always toting the scrap, but that's what he's gonna get, the scrap. A nigga robbing and living these different, really living the life of Esau.
That's what it is.
That's what he's going to get, you know, death. Ultimately, that's what all those roads lead to, death.
Yeah, because when you go into that, for an example, that idea, you know, that Dr. Frankenstein idea, that Frankenstein monster is actually you niggas. You was created by Esau. You know, a splash of honeycombs, you know, a pinch of, you know, of SpongeBob, and then, you know, you notice it went into the era of malt liquor. They actually called that shit liquid crack, you know?
Yeah.
You got niggas now who just bugged out off the devices that Esau laid out for you. And when you come out of the oven, voila, you have a nigga. You see? That's why, and we mentioned that earlier, whosoever is joined unto him shall be thrust through. All right, so was there any more on that?
That was the point. That was the point.
Yep, you got it, Double Dog.
Okay.
We can go back to that Jeremiah 11, unless it was, yeah, it was more on this Isaiah Salakia 1, right?
Okay.
And, you know, as promised, we're going to get to the footage as well. We're going to pull up the footage. Again, court is in session on you niggas too, man. You 2/3, all right? And pretty much the Lord laid everything out in the records, and your own countenance testifies against you. So again, Yahweh Shema Shai is going to be justified when he bring forth those plagues. And guess who's going to feel the brunt of it? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. For an example, this executive order passed by the devil, what is that, 10467? That's going to cut out, you know, you drug dealing niggas, you know what I mean? Or, you know, you niggas who do that hand-to-hand cash. That's the Lord closing in the walls on you. Even just the regular jakes out there bumming for $5. All that's out, man. You're about to be overwhelmed with the spirit, the presence of Yahweh Shema Shai. Come on, out.
Isaiah 1:6, it says, from the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it.
Right. So you can't have the approach, you know, us being ambassadors of the Lord. Your view as touching our people can't be, well, he all right. I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, you know, with certain people we encounter in the world, and you know, for the most part, you'll label them as cool, right? But what we read in here is the scriptures pretty much spotlighting the whole nation as far as the 2/3, from the heads to the bottom of the bottom amongst our people outside of this truth. The Lord said there's no soundness in you. And that proves too that the entrance that the Lord ministered unto us as touching returning unto his presence and his favor, it all revolves around this information, the doctrine. That's why that word soundness is right there. Because this is how you're proven. You know, you could be good as gold in the sight of the people, but once you're presented with this information, if you don't have the soundness to grasp it, then that's an indicator that Yahweh Shema Shai is not with you. And you're going to succumb to the judgments which the Lord has reserved, you know, has laid up for this lifetime, which again would be the time of Jacob's trouble. Come on.
It says, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores.
Right. Imagine you wheel somebody in the hospital and they've been shot 70 times, they head damn near off. You're going to come to the conclusion, yeah, we're going to have to pull the plug on them. Right?
They have not been closed.
Right. They have not been closed.
Neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment.
Right. So they can't stand before Yahweh Shema Shai. Those are blemishes. You know, even when you consider the physical sacrifice, which the Lord required of us, you know, the lamb had to be without spot and blemish. You can't sacrifice a animal that's broken, blind, right? So they can't present themselves before Yahweh Shem Yahushua, as touching what's pleasing to the Heavenly Father. Remember, Yahushua, which in his lifetime is brought forth in the form of his word, is what has cleansed us. What's that? St. John, the 15th chapter?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no hope for a nigga. And again, all of you guys out there that's rallying, which by the way is a nigga at the house. He ain't out on the highways and byways, but he's giving us a pep talk. Once you go to the hood, you want us to get shot at, like IUIC, man.
Mm-hmm.
But we have been briefed, all right? The Lord said that these wounds can't be healed. And again, if we was to pop up in your hood, we're not going to celebrate your actions. No, when we touch down, we're going to hit the ground running, cussing your ass out, man. All right, so was that it on that up?
Con.
Yep, so let's go back to that Jeremiah, the 11th chapter. And from there, we'll transition into the video proof of you niggas and how Yahweh Shem Yahushua will be justified in visiting you in the time of Jacob's trouble.
Con, this is Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 14. It says, therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them.
Mm-hmm.
For I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble.
Right, and that's the time. That time will be peaked soon, very soon, man. Because a nigga's life revolves around Esau. That's why, man, the sooner the better, all right? And you develop that once you become, a little more seasoned in this truth. You become more and more grounded. Then you understand, you know what? Lord, kill these niggas already, man. Because at first, you have a little sympathy, right? But ultimately, you niggas is actually holding up the kingdom. What's that? 1 Kings? I think that's 1 Kings, the 8th chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Which the Lord requires, that harmonious approach. But is already in the records. Or what's that? Zechariah. Matter of fact, before we go into what you got, let's get that in Zechariah, the 13th chapter, is it?
Okay. It's in Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
Right, and that land is dealing with America. Go ahead.
But the third shall be left therein.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Said, and I will bring the third part.
Oh, can I say, again, when you cut something off, it's because it's not beneficiary. And as we just read in the book of, Isaiah, the 1st chapter, that's touching those putrefying sores and those wounds which haven't been closed. In the medical field, especially as touching these surgeons, well, if you get gangrene or a limb is infected, what happens? You have to cut it off. Hey, even Yahweh Shah spoke about that. Better to come to the kingdom hauled
In Maine.
Yeah, man. Meaning the Lord got to trim off the fat, man. The Lord is not dealing with Israel as a whole. And that happened, remember in the wilderness? Where pretty much they walked in circles. They was perverse. They was in a state of, a constant state of perverseness for 40 years. Well, that's essentially what you see now. These niggas is all over the place, man. Even in what seemed or perceived to be an outlet, like these churches or whatnot. It's wickedness, man, going on up in there. They actually have, you have the what would you call it, the praise team, where they twerking, man. Like, come on.
Did
Zachariah, y'all see that video with a broad? I think I put it in the chat. The broad, she was a gospel singer. I think the name of the song was "Twerk for Jesus" or something like that. Did y'all see that? Madness, man. The Lord ain't dealing with that. The only ones who's going to come into the favor of Yahweh Shema Shai is the elect. Those whose reasoning has been altered, and have developed a sincere disdain for the world. Come on.
It says, Zechariah 13:9, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power.
See that? And that proves, what's that, Galatians, the 6th chapter, the 16th verse, amongst many other passages in the scriptures, where the Lord pretty much claimed the 1/3 as his people, beginning at the elect, the governing body, the 144,000, and those who believe on the report, versus any and everybody outside of this circle, man. The Lord doesn't look at you as his people. That's the spirit. The nigga Kodak Black, Hey, that's why John said what he said. Who warned you, generation of vipers? Hey, that's the spirit that be on us, man. I know when I hear these niggas say that they, a Kendrick Lamar, one of these niggas, when I first ever heard a nigga make the claim that there was a woke to Israel, I pretty much had that same approach inwardly, like, who warns you, nigga? Yep. So you got it up.
Okay. I got you.
Take a look now at 3 teen boys in this week in Williamsburg. Police say they punched a 6-year-old for scooter. Now they are wanted by officers. News 4's Erica Byfield is live in Williamsburg, where she spoke to neighbors about this crime. Erica, what goes through my mind is, why would somebody do something like this?
We heard so many neighbors asking us that same question today. Police are telling us that that little girl is going to be okay. But again, as you mentioned there, Jen, so many people are asking why anybody would steal from a child.
What is going on with the world? I mean, how could you stoop so low?
Police say that this trio did on the corner of Throop Avenue and Bartlett Street in Brooklyn last week.
I'm speechless because 6 years old.
This is an angle of video that you'll only see on News 4. You see a guy on a bike. His buddies come up behind him. This is Thursday, July 28th, around 5:50 in the afternoon. Eventually, those teens turn left. Detectives say that seconds later, they encountered a 6-year-old girl. One of them punched her in the chest. Then the other 2 swooped in and stole her Razor scooter. The video picks up again as they race down Thorpe. One guy has the scooter in his hands.
I think it's crazy how a little girl came with riding a scooter, like just to have fun. But it's crazy how troublemakers just want to start that for no reason. I feel like it's sad. It's crazy.
Detectives suspect that the attackers were anywhere between the ages of 14 and 16. The photo and these videos are all they have for now.
Hey, yo,
one was in red shorts, another in.
And what's fascinating about you niggas, because you niggas is a marvel. I mean, I'm not being funny about that. The creation of a nigga, really, the Lord used his left hand to shape and fashion it pretty much to come out of the oven with it. But it goes back to the Heavenly Father. This is a marvel to see a nigga, the workings of a nigga, man. Now, the reason why it says a marvel, why wouldn't you put that energy? And I'm not promoting, none of that. I'm just saying logic, right? if that's your life, well, why wouldn't you put that energy into hitting a bank? These niggas, man. The nigga running across the street, it should have been a money bag. You see? This nigga running across the street with a scooter. Now he's appeased as he rides the girl. I don't know if that's the scooter. Oh my goodness, man. That's why when you read, what's that, Jeremiah the 5th chapter? The Lord said, shall I not visit you for these things? He's talking about Israel. So this is proof right here. Again, court is in session. You niggas is on trial too. And we are producing video, all right? As we often touch on, you know, the most successful convictions is when the DA is able to produce audio and video. At that point, you really can't fight. It's not in your best interest to take it to the grand jury or take it to trial. No, you got to concede. You got to plead now. I'll plead guilty, Your Honor. Because we have produced overwhelming evidence, man. All right? The Lord is going to be justified. Oh, that's kind of spiritual. I see the brothers just put it. It's kind of spiritual. Bear with me and my father. You know, I see the image as the brother put 2/3, and that's kind of how the image play out. It's 3 of them, but you kind of see the 2. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yep, the Lord is producing again evidence, right? Which would justify, hey, because it's about to get bad out here, man. The Lord is going to completely switch the scene up on you. Because a nigga, again, can I say real quick before we continue? A nigga in his life, his existence, his being revolves around, his universe revolves around Esau. All right, Esau gave these niggas access to Instagram, you know, what would you call it? You know, these social media sites.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
Instagram.
You see? And niggas relish in that. Niggas hit licks just to go stunt, man. I mean, straight up. And nigga go pull a lick so they could go and do a quick TikTok with the money in their hand. And that TikTok, that's spiritual.
Yeah.
You know? And that it's like a bomb. You know, that's associated with a bomb. TikTok, TikTok. All right, come on.
I got something real quick.
Yeah, you got it.
Book of Jeremiah 15:1. Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth.
Right. The Lord said, look, even though Moses and Samuel stood before me, which they are of that stock. That also reminds me of Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. You are in the midst of scorpions. Real quick, get that.
Okay.
I know what. Let's see.
I believe is I want to say that's Ezekiel 6. I mean, Salakias, Ezekiel 2.
2, yeah. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 2, and verse 6. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee.
Yeah, and when you go into that word briars, one of the words there is rebellion. And that's what's on display when you encounter a nigga. Hey, think not that you ever going to catch us trying to convince niggas. You know? And you at the job and you develop a soft spot for a nigga so much so that where you bring the truth out to him. We passed that, man. Because there are briars and thorns. All right, you trying to get a feel for a bush that's riddled with thorns and briars, you're gonna hurt yourself. Go ahead,
God, it says, and though briars and thorns be with thee, and though thou dwells and though dost dwell among scorpions.
Yeah, you got you soft niggas out there. You have a problem with the way we go about our business when we curse Jake out. Well, it's the Lord himself. That was meant to be a derogatory term. That was an insult hurled towards you niggas from the Lord himself. He calls you scorpions. Go ahead.
It said, and though thou dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house.
See, though they be a rebellious house, man. In which that word rebellion, when you go into it, simply translated, it means to go back to war. So you pretty much have waged war against Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and the engaging moment, if you will, is on display through your folly. You see, your disobedience, which is ultimately framed as your rebellion. So come on, we can go back.
Okay.
And you can expound on it. I believe Barak, you was reading that?
I'm talking about Jeremiah.
Yep.
Jeremiah chapter 15 and 1. It says, then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. So just going back, the Lord, Moses and Samuel, they had compassion on Jake, but we see behind the scenes now. The Lord have showed us, how these niggas act when, the prophets are not around, because they did know who Samuel was. I tell you, the elders trembled when they seen Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
They know who Moses was, the prophets before. And, some would put on a facade, but now, Jake have lost that, that discernment of knowing who the true prophets are, and they just acting their ass, man. See,
can I add to that?
Mm-hmm.
Salakia is almost the effect of being an undercover cop.
That's it.
That element.
Mm.
They knew that there was Samuel and Moses back then, but now, even we don't know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, what respected prophet in a lot he was given to occupy, but it's equivalent to an undercover cop. Let's say if it's a cop and he's in an undercover car and you feel compelled to run a stop sign, you don't know that's a cop.
Mm-hmm.
You'll run the stop sign. Just using that as an example. But let's say if he was in a marked car, you knew it was a cop. Then you will proceed with caution. So just to add to what the brother is saying, here it is, the prophets is amongst them, but that same fear is not there because the Lord blinded them. He took away that discernment. They can't see that these are the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you got it up.
That was the point on that.
Yep, so you got it.
Turquoise shorts. The last one was in gray jeans and a multicolored shirt. The incident has neighbors frustrated, concerned about all the kids in this area.
It's ridiculous because there's a lot of kids around this area, especially on this block alone.
Yeah,
So
so
on Thursday last
pretty
week,
much you have niggas encounter a 6-year-old little girl, punch her in the chest, and make off with her scooter, man. Now ask yourself, first and foremost, how can we could break through to a nigga like that? That's a wound. That's equivalent to you asking me to this nigga got half his head gone. He come into the into the the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, you know what? No, this sore is a putrefying sore. It's only gonna get worse. So, due to the wisdom given me, my suggestion is to put him down like the wild rabid dog that he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is preparing to do. Hey, the spirit heavy, man. The drama of Yahweh Shema Shah, it makes sense. As touching, the revelation of things coming to light. We see it now. It's amongst us. You have the internet access at your fingertips. You actually could be briefed on the workings of a nigga, man. You don't even have to search hard for it. It's right there at your disposal. But ultimately, again, this is gonna prove to justify Yahweh Shema Shah. All right? The Lord is going to be completely justified in his visitation of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, again, in which the Lord has prepared and will be presented in what the scriptures have coined as the time of Jacob's trouble. It makes sense now, see?
Mm-hmm.
Them little niggas ready for the taking. Them 3 niggas, it's a concentration camp waiting, man. And it makes, that's the perfect spot for them niggas, man. All right, come on. Yeah, see?
Yeah, them nigga, I want that movie Don't Be a Menace. The nigga robbed the old lady for his walker. Stupid niggas, man.
Yeah, it's like the scene came up in my mind. You got it. The nigga carjacked the walker, man, and he took off on the walker.
Yeah.
Yep. It all makes sense, all right? That's why the Lord said, pray not for this people. We're in a time where that decree, that's a commandment, all right? The Lord commanded us not to pray for this people, but in an act of mercy, he gave us a front row seat to their folly, man. So, hey, you ain't got to put a gun in my head and you already know the GIF, man, the Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
That's the mentality, man. Call Allah Yahweh Shema Shah when he visits you niggas. Like this nigga, who is this guy up in jail right now? The Young Thug dude. Then you had this nigga Killer Mike. He's supposed to be a voice of reasoning, right? He came out in defense of that nigga. Like free. These niggas promote murder, drugs, adultery, and everything that has proven to be in resistance to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shema Shah. Away with them niggas. All right, come on.
Good.
You might. Away with you niggas, man. That's a series.
Now to an Eyewitness News exclusive. They say they are living in fear, terrorized by a group of kids that comes to their building in the Bronx night after night. And these senior citizens say it's gotten so bad, they're afraid to come out after dark. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang has the story from the Morrisania section.
Look in my eyes. I have not slept.
67-year-old Miriam Cintron and her neighbors live in a state of fear. They claim large gangs of young teens have been terrorizing their apartment building in the Bronx all summer, and it's getting worse.
They came at us. They beat us. They broke that stick from that tree there to beat us with the wood. We don't have nobody.
Miriam says they broke the pole from the tree well and turned it into a weapon Saturday night as she fell victim to their violence.
They were kicking me in my side. They were kicking me on this side. They were punching me in my back, trying to get my face, but I covered.
63-year-old Nydia Carrero says a group of young girls the same night slammed her to the sidewalk, dragged her, and...
If I may, and they talking about little girls, man. So the women are just as bad as the girls are just as bad as the boys, man. Just wild, brute beasts. And as the elder brother said earlier, they made to be taken. The judgment of Yahweh Shah is gonna run hot on these wicked ass niggas.
Yep, that's those wild. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that. We mentioned it earlier.
Okay.
That wild bull in the net. You or Barack, and whoever can get it first.
51, I believe.
Okay. This is the book of Psalms, Oh, it's like Isaiah.
Yeah, God. Damn, where is it?
Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 20. It says, "Thy sons have fainted; they lie at the head of all the streets."
Right. That's why you see niggas out on the block, psycho babbling, rapping, slap boxing, pants hanging off their ass. Well, that's a fulfillment of biblical prophecy, man. Those sons come after you. That's concerning the latter end of Israel in this lifetime, where that fall from grace would be, so severe, man. Hey, you see the older Jake, she crying out, man. Like she's wearied by these little monsters, man. See, that's the scriptures. Read that again.
Thy sons have fainted; they lie at the head of all the streets. As a wild bull in a net, they are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy power.
See that? That's a blot and stain on our legacy right there. No order. Because remember, we was given the law, statutes, and commandments to govern over us above all other nations. All right? That's how we was able to operate. We was the only civilized, if you will, nation, saying that we was governed by the highest powers conceivable. But now, a testament of our fall is our sons at the head of every corner and being referred to as a wild bull, man. Who else is that speaking about? Let's go back to the video.
Okay.
Who else is that speaking about when the scriptures say they lie at the head of every corner as a wild bull? That's speaking about you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Come on,
Pummeled her after she refused them entry into her building.
They wanted to hang out in the hallway and mess up the building. They go in with bikes in there half the time.
This is 1294 and 1295 East 169th Street in the Morrisania section of the Bronx. Most of the tenants here are elderly. They tell me they are being swarmed, beaten, and robbed by ruthless teens who have turned their apartment building into an oasis of lawlessness and who apparently count on their youth to take care of them. As the adolescents escalate the violence night after night, residents are left bruised and traumatized.
And I can say something too.
Yeah, come.
Yeah. And where they guardians, they parents, they auntie or son, like they say, it's an oasis for them niggas, man. Like a roach hide,
Oh, that's true, yeah. Then when the cops pull up, they scatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you got it up.
Telling us they're going to come back and burn the building down? It's ridiculous.
Many tenants have lived here for decades and they take care of each other, but they concede they are no match for this nightmare, which has claimed their peace.
Night a break in the case of a taxi driver beaten to death by passengers who were trying to skip out on the fare. 2 men wanted in the case surrendered to police.
Right, you see that? Police arrested. You see that? These niggas, they trying to do wickedly. And that resistance, that's a wild bull. That wild bull want to tap the china shop. That's an actual saying, a bull in a china shop.
Mm-hmm.
So when you try to restrain them, then now you're in harm's way. These niggas tried to make off with the cab fare. And if I'm listening, I hope I'm hearing it right. I hope I'm not. But then they murked the guy. They bodied the guy. They stumped him out to death because they had to pay the fare.
Okay.
Come on, man. Again, Yahweh Shem outside is justified indeed. All right? Because like the brother mentioned, the brother Barak earlier, the prophets will have somewhat of a soft spot for Israel from time to time. But now we're in a time where the Lord is showing us, the Lord is giving us a glimpse into their rebellion, man. We see it firsthand. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say like you have a broad, and as long as she up under you, you know, she's going to try to play the part. But then when you give her liberty, right, then that's when you know what you got. Not saying that that's what we do, but, you know, that's an example. Because, you know, your woman supposed to be under your vibration, but, you know, here in this world, come on, man.
Mm.
But pretty much when that woman is out, she's not around you, then that's when that loyalty is on display. So that's the same with Israel. The Lord, you know, left you to your own devices. What's that? The fruit of your own way, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And you showed your true colors, man. This is what happens when our people is not under that strict, you know, ordinance, the statutes, the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Shai. They morph into a wild bull. That's why they have to be constrained. The law was set up to, you know, restrain us, to constrain us from going astray. Go ahead, Doc.
15-year-old girl accused of being one of the attackers. Teresa Priolo has the latest from the police precinct in Far Rockaway.
With their heads bowed, 2 men accused of brutally beating and ultimately killing 52-year-old Kutin Gima are escorted out of the 101st Precinct Station House in Far Rockaway. The arrests of 20-year-olds Austin Amos and Nicholas Porter are the first but not the last in Gima's death. Late Thursday night, police also arrested a 15-year-old girl in connection with this case.
We want justice to be served, and I am happy that these guys have been identified.
Kutin Gima was a cab driver in Far Rockaway, killed Saturday morning after dropping 5 passengers off at Beach 54th Street. The NYPD says the group didn't pay their fare and then tried to rob him. A physical altercation ensued. Surveillance video shows 2 men and 3 teenage girls kicking and punching Gima, and at some point he falls, hits his head on the pavement, and loses consciousness. Gima later died. Gima's widow spoke through tears Thursday, remembering her late husband.
It was everything we had. It was my children's hero. It was my backbone.
Yeah, and it was all because of 5 scorpions that was looking to take, you know? And again, this is why Yahweh Shem Shai is going to be justified in those judgments that he has prepared, man. The famine is going to be a beautiful piece of work, man, to combat you niggas. See? Yep, it was more unlikely Jake's. You know, Jake, the guy that got put to death, probably was from the west coast of Africa. Yep, so come on out.
I ain't going nowhere.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is what's this one? You can expound on it.
This is down in our neck of the woods in the New Park City Walk that they opened up. So the mayor established a curfew, and these niggas just went crazy. They just did what they wanted to do and got the fighting out there at the park.
All right, that was the very setting where they was promoting the curfew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the brother said, you know, where are your parents at? But again, you know, in a lot of cases, you can't even blame the parents, because these niggas is rebellious. You know, a lot of them, they don't even stay at home. They just hang out for days. you know, in more extreme cases, like that little gang of niggas who beat the cab driver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in their vicinity, you go into their proximity, you're gonna smell the faint smell of blunts and blacks. All right, come on. I'm telling you, you smell that, man, get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Them niggas had to break it in. And park ain't been open no more than 6 months.
Okay.
It's
already, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's crazy. You know, they was hosting the event concerning dumbing down, you know, the activity, after hour activity, and establishing a curfew. And this was the reaction. And again, that's why the scriptures were spot on in his assessment of referring to the 2/3 as a wild bull in a net. Imagine trying to restrain a wild bull. Yep, you got it up. We can move on.
Okay.
Right here, these niggas like a bunch of roaches, man. You see that?
Nigga getting all the funyuns and shit. Yeah, nigga, man.
Yeah, if you could, yeah, right. If you could zoom in, niggas would be hovering around the Fagos, the Funyuns, man. And you see these niggas, it was one guy, the nigga just actually, he was taking the time to shop breeze through. Fuckers, man. Oh, in a quick note, right? Those are so-called Negroes and Latinos, man. This nigga throwing Black and Miles at that.
Some niggas, man.
And that guy just had the bag. I ain't gonna even take the time. You can do it in your own time. But I was taking the guy in the big yellow bag, man. You already know what that is. There's a yellow bag right there on the counter, man.
Yeah.
You see that, right?
Yeah, God.
Yep, we present unto you scorpions and vipers, man. And you want us to go in the hood and teach to them.
Damn.
Look at that, man. Come on, man.
That's crazy, man.
Hey, so you got anything else out? Any precepts?
Nah.
Hey, so with that, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the fellow laborers out there, and as always, you believers. Till the next time, shalom.
Shalom. DTA.
Bye-bye.
Soon. Very soon.